Hello and welcome everyone to tonight's question time. Every Wednesday we do a question time live stream and we answer your questions. So if you have a question about Unreal, game development or anything you want in general, this is a place where you want to ask it. All you have to do is put your questions into the chat and we'll try and answer as many as we can within the hour that we have here. I'm going to say a massive thank you to all my patrons at the head of the show here and YouTube members as well for all your donations and your support in allowing me to do these streams and make more content for you. So thank you again so much for your generosity and your support. Hello everyone in chat. I do see chat open here, I think. Yep, here we are. So hello Astro, hello the Bugbee, hello Alan, Stefan, Ahmet, hello everyone. How are you all doing? I need to just load up something else as well. Let me load that up. Hope everyone is all well and good. Also, before we get started here, we do have a couple more slots available in August for one-to-one. So if you want a one-to-one session, just head to my website, ryanlee.com/sessions, and you can see the available session times, as well as the prices and what happens in the sessions and FAQs, things like that. You can find all that information over on my website, so help yourself to that if you do want a one-to-one session where you can talk about and go through any of your projects and help you out with that and consult you and what to do. If you are a Patreon member, I'd like to remind people that you can put your question in ahead of time over on our Discord channel on Question Time Q Jump. So if you have a question but you may not be able to make the show live, you can put your question up there and I'll answer it and you can catch it on the archive footage. So let's jump straight in. I'm just going to turn down the music a little bit because it's a bit loud. My head. Let me just move that here. Okay, so let's just jump straight into our scene here. So yeah, I've got a couple of questions over on the Discord channel here on the Q Jump. So Sven K is asking, just wondering if there's a way for me to make an AI pawn look up and down, rotating a specific joint once it has seen the player, i.e. being able to look up or below to the player if you're above below the pawn. Any help on this would be appreciated. I've gone through 3 tutorials that don't work at this point. Okay, so you want your AI to look around and look at the player. Now, we don't have time to go through the whole setup, but I do have a video on aim offsets, and that's what you want to use. So using an aim offset, you can then plug in the rotation that you want it to look at, and it will rotate its head to that location, okay? So it's called control rotation. So you have to set the control rotation of the character of the AI to look at the rotation of the player, the location of the player. And then you use the control rotation like normal aim offset in the animation graph, like I have in my aim offset video. So check out the aim offset video to handle that, and you can get your AI looking all around, looking at you. Mohammed is asking, hello Ryan, I was wondering what's the best way to activate physics once a player interacts with an actor. For example, I have an actor blueprint with the UE mannequin, which I want to collapse when the player gets inside the trigger box and hit the interact button. Right now the mannequin collapses immediately when I hit start. Okay, so this is just Ragdoll in general. So we can go into blueprint class here. We'll do a character. Come on. And in here, we're going to set the mesh to our... Oh, I don't have a mannequin. I'll just use the arms here. Doesn't really matter. I'll just use the arms. It's the same process. Just put them into position. Whoop. Okay, that'll do. And I'm just going to add a collision area so I can just walk into it and it'll just collapse. So I'm just going to move this around and change the size of it here to 500, 100. Okay, maybe a bit too big. Hang on, let's do that to 250. There you go. So what we'll do is when we walk into this box, we'll collapse it. So right now you don't want to do anything on the right hand side here. So on the event graph, you're going to right click on the box, add event, component begin overlap. And if the other actor is equal to the player character in this case, obviously you have your own interaction system of what you want to do to trigger this. So wherever the trigger is, minus this box here, you just do this, and then you take the mesh out, and we're going to set collision object type and change that to a physics body. Put that in there. You want to then also set the collision enabled to physics only. And what else was there? I think that was it. So then you turn it to simulate physics. Set simulate physics. And that'll cause it to ragdoll to the floor. The capsule will remain and you won't be able to walk through it, but you can turn that collision off as well. So let's put that out over here. I think that was everything. Might have missed one thing out. Yeah, there you go. So it ragdolls to the floor, but as I said, the capsule's still there. I can't walk through it still. So you usually want to turn the capsule off as well. So you take the capsule out and you set collision enabled to no collision on the capsule. And that's it. So it is not ragdoll just yet. When you walk into it, it ragdolls. Okay. The last question from Discord here. Draconic is asking about procedural animation that creates FPS moving animation. That one, it sent me a video. I'll have to watch that one alone. So Draconic, I'll watch that video and reply back to you individually. Okay, man. Okay, on to the chat here. I can see chat questions are flying through. So let's try and grab some of these. Naylor, sorry, Vlad. Hi, Ryan. What would entail to make a virus simulation games and tycoon games? Although, I mean, it's a lot of work. Virus simulation's not too bad. It depends on how accurate you want it to be. But tycoon games, yeah, that's a lot of work. It is a lot of data, a lot of variables that you want to store everywhere. You usually put a lot in the game mode that's happening at the moment on the game. So you're keeping track of various things like population, so forth. And then individual actors will also have their own data. So for example, if you're doing virus simulation, each country would be its own actor, which will have its own data about the country and information like that, and talk about how likely it is to be hit by virus and so forth. It's a lot of work, but yeah, it's pretty short. It's just a lot of data everywhere. Naylor, I have a very quick question. I've always seen these free assets for characters. I import them, but when I go to put in the animations from the anime starter pack, it never works. Can you do one? So Naylor, how do you replace a template character with its own animations? So Nayla, you want to use retargeting. Now I won't go through retargeting here, as I've got a video dedicated just entirely to retargeting, and that'll go through that process. You want to retarget the mesh with the animations. Okay, so go through all that and you should be able to do it. Okay. Die Hard games, how do I make a big map? So like, instead of it being a mini map, it's a giant map like the one Resident Evil use. So the one, it depends on what Resident Evil you're talking about. So it's just a giant image on a widget that you can move about, which I've done in other videos. I think I did it in the gamepad control one, I think. The tricky part is if you want things to be changeable on the map, like for example Resident Evil 2, when you want the rooms to change color based on their completion status. I have a few ideas of how to do that. I was playing about with something to try and make a video on it, but ran out of time to do it. So maybe in the future I can get around to doing it, but it's way too much to handle right now. But if you want it to be static, it's just a big image on the widget, and I've got that in my gamepad thing. Jordan King, will you be able to continue the inventory series? So the inventory series was one of my very first series. I don't want to go back to it, but what I do want to do is redo it. Since then I've learned a lot myself, and I want to do a lot more with it and add more functionality to it. So like I'm remaking the equipment system series, I think the inventory one will be the next one I remake. So that'll be when we handle that. Okay, I'm just going to drop down to the bottom here. As I said, if I do miss your question, just put it into chat again. I'll try and catch it. Astro Cricket, quick question: how did you start learning how to use Unreal Engine 4? Just by playing with it. I didn't watch any videos, didn't do any courses. I just started playing with it. Yeah, just playing around with it every day. I use it every day. And every day I'm learning new things myself. You will never learn everything. So yeah, I'm constantly playing with it, and that's how I learn things, and that's how I'm doing it. Naylor, any chance you can do a level design tutorial series or point to one that you like? I do want to do more design based videos, so not just talking about how to make a game, but what kind of things to make a game good, like how to make good levels, how to make good open worlds. That's one I really want to tackle, is how to make good open worlds. I see a lot of open worlds by a lot of people, both in my Discord, one-to-ones, but also just roundabout on the Reddit, YouTube and so forth, and they're usually bad because they misunderstand the term open world, and think there's no real level design in it. So I do want to do a series on stuff like that. As for video content I've seen, I'm not aware of any. I don't really follow tutorial videos. It's hard to know. But yeah. TH Gaming, hey Ryan, just following your equipment series and wondered how to replicate the skeletal mesh changes on the multiplayer. So on the character, if you're a patron up to the latest thing, you'll have a function in there, or event, whatever it was, I can't remember now, to change the mesh. Okay, you'll have this thing. Okay, once all that is going to do, it's going to send over what mesh is going to change and what mesh is going to change to, and then you have another custom event, which would be the multicast change mesh. And this will be something that is done, I guess you could actually call it, I guess you could call it from wherever you're calling it from, but ultimately you do a multicast, and that tells all the clients to update that mesh, that character with the correct mesh, but you need to do a multicast for that. And I recommend making it reliable as well, that way everyone does stay in sync. I'm gonna take a drink, mate. Talking a lot is gonna hurt my throat. Oh my god, try and keep track. It's like a wall of text. Hey Ryan, my animations look better in, this is from the Bug Bee, sorry. My animations look better in Blender than they do in Unreal. Is there a common reason why this could be happening? I can't find much info on this issue. What do you mean by better? Let me know what you mean by better. Like, do you mean they run smoother? Do you mean the render looks better? You tell me. Is it too late to add one to the queue jump? You can just ask it here, Stefan. Be fine. Vlad, would you be making a virus simulation and tycoon tutorials in the future? Also, how would I make the controllable projectile when shot control it for 3 seconds then back to normal? I mean, never say never. I mean, I'll be making all sorts of tutorials in the future, so yeah, no doubt we'll be doing like a city sim tycoon type game, I'm sure. Right, controllable projectile. How controllable? Like in Metal Gear, when you shoot a rocket, you can control where the rocket goes. Is that what you mean? You can do that. Let's delete this thing. Let's make a controllable rocket quickly. So make a blueprint class. It need to be a pawn. If you need to control anything, it needs to be at least a pawn. I'm gonna do pawn, and this will be controllable rocket. Go like that. And we're gonna add a mesh to it, and we'll do a basic cube. Nothing special. Just squish it a little bit. That'll do. And then we'll add a camera to it. And that camera will sit right on top of it. Ooh. Depends on if you want to see the rocket or not. But there you go. And then we want to add a pawn movement. Like so. On the event graph here, we're going to use the mouse to control it. So mouse X, we'll do add controller your input. Mouse Y. No. Mouse Y. And we'll do add controller pitch input, like so. We need to tell this thing to use the controller yaw and use the controller pitch. Turn them both on. Then the movement, we'll just make it move forwards our entire time. So I'll just do a tick event here. It don't matter where we put it, but a tick. And we're going to do add movement input, and the direction you want to go is going to be the direction you're facing. So we're going to get the camera and get actor forward, no, get rotation, that spell, get world rotation, get forward vector, and that'll be the world direction, and the scale will be 1. Well, it's going to go forwards. This will be quite slow. Oh no, it won't. It'll be quite fast because we've got it set here to max acceleration here. We may tweak this, but velocity I'll put in anyway, 200 there. And that's it really. So when I shoot this thing, we're going to go into the player character, make him shoot it. And so montage play, spawn projectile. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to do spawn actor class. I'm going to choose my rocket. Controllable rocket. And then I want to possess it. So I take this out. I need to get the controller first. Get player controller. And we're going to set... no, sorry, not set. Just do possess. And then possess it. I'm going to use that. Instead of this. And we'll plug that into there. And that's going to be it. Now, the thing won't disappear. Oh, whoops. So this will be this. There you go. So it won't disappear and return back yet to the player, but let's just see if this works. Whoop. Inverted controls. But I can control the rocket now using just my mouse. Okay. There we go. Oh, through the floor. I don't think it has collisions on it, so... Oh, no, it does. It does. Cool. Right, so let's make it go back to the player character when they die. So, when I do shoot the rocket, I need to set the player character to it. So, let's go back to my controllable rocket. And we'll go new variable, player. And we'll do that as a first person character. And I'm going to set that to editable and exposed on spawn. Then on here, we're going to do hit event. Event hit. And when it hits something, we're going to take the player out. And we're going to get the player controller. And we're going to tell it to possess the player again. We'll then tell this thing to destroy itself. So back on the player, I now should be able to set the player here. So that'd be self. If it doesn't appear there, just refresh this and it'll show up. So in theory, if they shoot this, if I crash it, is it set to overlap things like that? Let's set these. Hang on. Let me check the collisions for it. Oh, sorry, it needs to be the root. I'll just do that. Block all dynamic. Yes, I think that'll do. Play. There you go, and it returns back to the player. Whee! And I blow up. Boom. And why not? Because it's a rocket, we'll spawn an explosion as well. Spawn emitter at location. Explosion. Get actor location. And there you go. One controllable rocket launcher. There you go. Hopefully that helped you out, Vlad. Next we've got Fly Highland. What's the best way to set up a whole first-person character that can throw stones? Probably a bit complicated question, so please ignore if so. Low. Okay. So it's not much different from the gun. If you think about the gun, it's just shooting a bullet. For stones, you're just throwing a much smaller and slower bullet. That's all you're doing to it. So literally, if I go back to my player character here and put that in here, and if I change the projectile now to be a lot slower, like a stone, go to projectile movement and change the speed to, I don't know, 600, max speed to 600. and set velocity here to 600. It'll just fall like a stone. Now, to actually do the animation of the arm thing, you just have an animation and you just make an anim notify event that just triggers to fire it out at that point. And that's all you got to do. Imagine it's a stone. That's it. Okay. What is the best way to keep the same music across different levels so it keeps going when you load into new levels? Okay, that's an easy one. That's from TH Gaming. So when you do spawn, I think it's spawn sound and 2D be for music. If you expand this open, you'll see persist across level transition. Tick that, and your music and or sound effect will travel across the level with you. Nice easy one, that one. So Naylor, hard to articulate this. How to position a camera so that the player can rotate 360 degrees, but camera direction doesn't follow. Camera moves up, down, left, right. So think top down, but third person camera field. So right. Let me make a quick character then. Do you mean like just a top down character where the camera doesn't turn? So do a spring arm. So it's just like a normal character. Spring arm and camera. And then obviously rotate the camera to be facing down using the spring arm. Like that. I'll probably make it a bit further out. Let's give it a basic mesh. I haven't got a third person character, so I'll just use some arms. That'll do. Oh, and drag that down. Move that around. That'll do. So if you if we do a rotate, so let's do a simple rotate here. Do mouse X. Add controller yaw. Okay, so if I move my mouth left and right, they'll turn the character. Okay, simple as that. I'm not going to write back movement or anything like that for now. So by default, the problem is, let me get rid of this one and let me possess this one. Push play. Problem is, if I turn like this, it turns a camera. Now, if you don't want it to do that, go down to the class defaults, turn off. Oh no, sorry. Keep use controller rotation. You're on. Leave that on. No, what do you want to do? What one is it? Oh yeah. So spring arm. So you go to spring arm and you turn off inherit yaw. That's it. And then that means the spring arm will ignore the yaw of the character, and the character will just turn freely. And if you want to do movement, we'll quickly add movement into it. Move forwards. Add movement input. Scale value going to there, and the world direction will be just get the actor forward vector. If you want to use like tank-like controls, he'll go forward. So if I hold down W, he'll go forwards which way he's looking. Like that. If you want your character to just go up and down, left and right, don't use that. Just put in X here, 1. And that means he will go up and down regardless of which way he's looking. So it's useful for like twin stick shooter type modes, things like that. There you go. John Kent FX, if you have a reasonably complicated setup in one BP, is there an easy way to copy, paste, or export that function to another blueprint along with all its variables so that it pastes properly? I believe so, yeah. So let's go for our top-down one here and make a function in this, and we'll call this one John Kent FX function. Okay, and insert complicated code. I don't know, whatever we want. Print string, blah 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 blah. Doesn't really matter. This can have local variables as well. So on and so forth. And it's going to have an input as well, just to prove that you can do this. Like, there you go. If you go to this function, you can copy the function. Then if I go to the character here, I believe you can paste the function. I swear I've done it before. Yeah, paste function. So you right click on the functions bar, paste function, and it'll copy the function over along with all the inputs and also the local variables. Like so. You can't see those because my face is covering it up. Local variables down there. There you go. And that's how you do it. That's how you'd copy a function over. Astro question: do you have any tips on growing your YouTube channel? I am starting my own. I mean, I would only a couple of things. Do it because you like it and enjoy it. Do it all the time, like consistently. If you're gonna do it consistently and stick with it. Be persistent. You're not gonna see any pennies coming out of it just anytime soon. You have to just stick with it. It took me 3 years or 3.5 years to get to a point where I could do it full time. And that's not because of YouTube money. That's mostly because of patrons and freelance money. Well, I could afford to take that risk. That's all. Because YouTube money isn't much at all. It's quite poor, really. But do it because you enjoy it more so. I did it. I got started because I wanted my students to have a good resource to use, because they were following some other tutorials from other YouTubers and they weren't good. So I was like, I'll make some videos and show it. But yeah. Hey Ryan, this is from Sebi. How would you go about spawning randomly, for example, different doors? For example, one needs to be lockpicked, one just needs to be open all, and one needs a key. Okay, so I have a variable in here, and the variable will be door array, for example. And in there, I'll have like the actor class, whatever it may be. So if it's like a door actor, a parent, whatever, or whatever it wants, you can do actor here, class reference. Make this an array, and let's say this function is going to spawn something. Spawn actor from class. You just drag out the door array, which has got the array of all the items you have on it. So compile that. You can go on here, add that one. You can just go around and add whatever ones you want to it, blah 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 blah, and then just type in random array item and put that into the spawn, and you tell it where to spawn, and that's it. So that's how you do a door, like an array, to pick a random object to spawn in. Hopefully that helps you out, Sebi. What's the time? Okay, we've got plenty of time. We're whipping through these. Cool. Question: can you make it so a character can't walk up steps? I've tried doing a minimum step height and it doesn't seem to work. Like, there is a built-in step height already set. It depends on the step. So let me get rid of this one and put in, oh, not delete floor. Need that. can't. There we go. Let's put a character in. Process it. Oh, I've got an error. Hang on. Oh yeah. Okay, so right, the steps. So depends what steps you're doing. If you're using the geometry steps like these, no problem. Okay, you just change the minimum step height like you said you've been doing. So for example, that's quite a low step. For example, I'm gonna go to my minimum player character here, and you'll see step height somewhere. Search for it. Max step height. So put in like 0.1 for example, and hit play. Oh, it's still too low. It's because it's a sphere, and that's the issue with this. The other thing you can do is not with geometry, but you need static mesh. Let me convert that to a static mesh then. Press static mesh. Sure. Okay. So the difference between this and this is that this has a collision mesh on it, which is like going to be different. So if I go in here and have a look at its collision, if it has one, it may not even have one. No, it doesn't have one. I'll do collision 10 dot. Nope. We'll do collision 10 dot. Why? Ugh, that's annoying. We'll do 26 dot. That's really bad, isn't it? Okay, we'll make a custom collision then. Box. Turn the scale off. Snap. So most of the time your steps would have this sort of collision on it. It's big. The issue you have with the max step height is because it's a capsule. So it's a bit meh. But anyway, you have that on it. And if it's a mesh, I think it's a mesh. You can do character step up on. So if it has a normal collision stuff on it, you can just turn it off to no. And that should stop him from going up on top of it. No, that's bullshit. When they bump into it, probably because I got it clipping through the floor. Not very good, is it? I see your issue. I see your issue. The max step height thing should be the ideal solution. Let's have a look at that. Max step height. I mean, what if you make it just like 0? What does it do then? Let's have a look. Oh, the difference with this. Oh yeah, I know why this one's not working. But let's just check that. No, 0 doesn't work. It just turns it off. Okay. So if I put it back to 0.1, the reason why that one's not working is because we need angle. This thing, walkable floor angle. Turn that down to turn it up. No, turn it down to 0. No, not 0. Do like 0.1 again. And that'll make it impossible for you to climb up any kind of slope. Like that. So I can't climb up this. This is a bit different because it's not a slope. Oh, but it's working. Oh, cool. Okay. Right. So there's your trick then. Not the step. It's the slope. Walkable floor angle. Change that one. There you go. Next. Blood. Can you do a simple rhythm game quickly? Probably not in 20 minutes. No. I don't think we can do it in 20 minutes. Maybe it'll be a series in the future. I know I've had a couple of people ask about them. So probably in the future. Bartosus. Hey Ryan, I was wondering how I can improve your melee attack tutorial. Is it possible to join all those collision spheres and check all overlapping actors and deal damage on them? Okay, so the one thing I would do differently probably is how would I do this differently? Join them and check all overlapping actors that deal damage on them. Maybe. Hang on. New notify state. Select that. So one idea, I don't know if you can do it on this thing. To begin and end. And okay, we'll try this, okay? So mesh comp here, I'll get socket location. Put in the name of the socket that you want to record, so the sword tip, for example, and promote that to a variable and call that start location. Put that in there. Then on notify end, we do a multi line trace, or whatever trace you want to do. We'll do a line trace. The start location is going to be the one we recorded at the beginning of this. The end location is going to be the mesh comp socket location now. And then we got out multiple out hits, and these would be all the characters you've hit along the way. So that would be the way I'd probably try. See if that works. So this is like you can do a for each loop. Break that. And like do damage like normal from here. By damage. So on and so forth. That'll probably be a good way of doing it. Hopefully it helps you out, Bartosus. Naylor, do you do game design documents? I've seen templates from 1 to 200 pages in length. Depends. So if you're the purpose of a game design document is to record what the decisions are and what they have been. If you're working in a team, it's good to keep one so everyone working together and knows what the project is doing, and they need to get reference to something, they know what to do for whatever they're making. If you're a solo dev, they're usually a lot shorter, and when I've used them or made them in the past, it's because I wanted to remind myself of stuff I've decided on. So for example, an equation or method to work something out. So if I go back to it later, or if I forget what my plan was, I can just go back and figure that out. That's when I've used them. Pardon me, getting dry throat now. Da, 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 da. Try to find another one. How would one reliably get a point on the nav mesh out of the camera observed area if it's to spawn stuff out of the player's sight. Oh, so like spawning behind the player, for example. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so I think the best way to do it is have dedicated spawning areas or locations. And so, for example, let's make a quick spawner. And this spawner is going to do timer. And we'll do spawn actor on class. And we'll just do I don't know. Don't know if I've got a cone or anything. Okay, let's make something quickly. Class actor, new blueprint 1. It's called. Remember that. Give it a sphere. No, I don't. So spawner, we'll select that class. New blueprint 1. And spawn transform will be this transform. Oh, there it is. So one thing you could do is you have this was actor recently rendered. And this tells you whether or not this actor was recently in the camera view. And if it's false, then spawn the character. You could probably do something like this. The tolerance is how many seconds it was last rendered. So maybe something like this. But drawing attention to this node, basically, that might help you figure something out. Depends on what you're doing for spawning. But if you're doing like spawning points, you could do this. So this, if I drag these spawners in, that one there, that one there, that one there, I'll take the spawn every 2 seconds on a loop. The ones in front of the player that have been rendered. Oh. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ugh. Yeah. We can't do this set location Bartosis. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. This is read only. Poop. I'll have to think about it, Bartosis. About that one. But for now, I have to get rid of it. Alright, hit play. So the ones... That one spawned. Now that one spawned. Okay. So again... So I'm looking at this one. This one won't spawn. Well, it shouldn't spawn. Oh wait, it's probably... I ain't got a mesh on it, that's why. Ah, crap. Hang on. Yeah, player camera manager. Just see what functions we have available. Hmm. Oh yeah, there you go, Butter. That'll be a solution. In view. Anything to do with that? Hmm. Not entirely sure how to do a dynamic one. I mean, what you could do actually, if you're gonna spawn a character, actually, I've got an idea. We get the spawn transform, split the location. Okay, here we go. I've got an idea. Okay, so with the spawn location, you're gonna get the player character and get their location. Turn it on. Add to location. You then want to get a cone. And you get a random unit vector in cone in degrees. And that won't be the cone. That won't be the cone direction. The cone direction will be the player character's forward direction. So act a forward vector. Multiply it by -1, so you get the behind vector. And plug that in there. And we'll do 90 degrees. So that's like 180 degrees behind you. And then we just times it by how far away you want it to spawn. So we'll do, I don't know, 1,000. And if you want to spawn a nav mesh only, you get random point in navigable radius. And put in a radius here of 200. And then put that location there. That would do it. That will spawn it behind you. We don't need that location, do we think? No, we don't. Yes, we do. We need to add this to us first. So add the player location to this one. And then you connect that to the origin. That's it. Because this needs a world location. This isn't world yet. This makes it world. And then that'll spawn it behind it. So if I get rid of these spawners, except for one of them. So I've got one spawner in there. Okay. And hit play. It will spawn things behind me. Oh wait, I have to put an nav mesh in. Whoops. Nav mesh. And set that to 5,000. 5,500. Okay, nav mesh. Right, hit play. So it should be spawning things behind me. Yep, there it is. Oh, no one there. No one there. Yep, there you go. So as I keep turning around, they keep spawning behind me. There you go. Kind of scary. Because they'll just keep on spawning. Cool. There you go. Finally got there. Racing is fun. Loading screen, I can see through various conversation. Yep, you figured it out. You just make a loading screen widget. It covers the screen while it loads all the stuff in, and then you take the widget down once it's finished loading all the stuff in. You can't. I don't think there's a way to detect if things finish loading in Blueprint, but you can just wait for a certain amount of time and then bring it down. It's like a curtain. It just hides the popping in of stuff, so you can just hide it. How much time we got? 5 minutes. Naylor, last question from Naylor. What type of game do you recommend making first to get to grips with most aspects of the engine? So, I would suggest to do making your first game series. It covers a lot of the basic concepts you need to know about games development in Unreal, and at the end of it, you actually have a game. So when I teach my students, I get them to make 3 games as a starting learning point. The first one's a maze game, which is what my making your first game series is based on. So make a maze game. And maze games are good because it teaches you a bit level design. You have keys, pickups. You can put enemies in there. You can put traps in there. You can deal with all sorts of things. You can keep adding to it. Because if you think about it, games like Resident Evil are just complicated maze games. Yeah. So you can just keep adding to it and make it cool. So maze game's the first thing I get them to make. The second one is a spaceship shooter, and that teaches them more about controls, spawning items in, enemies in, basic stuff like that. Then I get them to do finally a platformer where they write about more about animation and more complicated AI behavior, and that's usually the 3 stepping stones I do with my students. So there was and may still yet be making your second game series, which is the spaceship shooter. I made the models for it, started working on it, but I never got around to filming it. So that would be the second series of that, and the third one would be a platformer. So that would be the order I would do it in, and again keeping it small and simple. So a platformer would be simply just like Mario type thing, like simple levels, like you're just jumping, like side scrolling or third person 3D. It doesn't really matter too much. But that's usually the order I do them in. But your first game should be short, basic, simple, no problem. I see so many people trying to tackle really complicated stuff head on. Really bad way of doing it. Don't. Scale is always people's problem. Bring it right down. I'd recommend actually just try and make a Mario Party minigame. Find a minigame in Mario. Do it. Make it. See if you can make it work. That'd be a good test for you to work that out. So yeah, do that. Question: is there a way to make AI sense the player only if he is in a nav mesh? So you have to get the you can use this thing. You can even use the get random point navigable radius. Just plug in the player's location into the origin, and this return value returns whether or not it was able to find one or not. So if the radius, make that really small, and it'll return true or false whether or not the player is actually in a nav mesh. And that's how you do that. Okay, we're gonna do probably have time for like 1 or 2 more questions. Oh dear. Oh my god. Oh, interesting, Bartisus. That's cool. 3D card game. I like the sound of that. I'm trying to find a question. Racing is fun. Say the menu loads the game and I need to load a lot of custom actors, but I don't want those loading actors to hiccup the game. Can I load a level, pause the game while actors load in, then resume game? Then yeah, you put the loading screen in front of the game and and then take it down whenever you're finished with it. That's all. Do I have a cold? No, I've been talking so much. It's really dry throat. I'm fine though. It just sounds crap. Just talking a lot. That is all. Is there a way to limit assets that would be packaged in the cooked game? So I'm guessing what you mean then, Shell Stormify, is you've got a load of assets you're not actually using in your game. So I get this question quite a lot actually, so I might actually do a video on it. What you do is you make a new empty project, completely blank project, okay, completely empty of everything, and then with your game level, go to your maps, find all your maps that you want to use, right click, asset actions, and migrate them to that new blank project. And what that will do is it'll bring over every single asset that is being used in your game, and won't bring over anything that isn't being used. And it'll clean up your project quite well. Hopefully answers your question then, Shell Stormify. And last question then from John Kent FX. Get game instance is always available in any blueprint. Is there a way to add other blueprints to the always available get list, for example, save load blueprint? No. So no, you can't. What you can do is well, I believe save game objects are persistent, but you can't get them. You have to store a reference to them in the game instance, I believe. Maybe, but no, you can't add anything you want to do. It's always a persistent thing. You have to, it's game instance only, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, that is the case. And that's it for today's question time. Thank you so much. We got through loads of questions there, so really good ones. Thank you everyone for asking your questions, and don't forget, patrons, if you want to, you can post your questions before each Wednesday over on Discord in the question Q Jump channel. In there you can post your question and you can watch this on catch up and find the answer to your question. They'll all be always answered first. So thank you so much to patrons, YouTube members, and everyone else supporting me. I thank you so much. As you know, I am now doing this full time, and it's only because of you guys I'm able to do so. So thank you again so much. As for what that means going forwards, there's loads more new content coming to the channel, more than just what you've been seeing so far. In fact, this past week, the new type of video I've been making, I've recorded about 5 to 6 hours of it already, and I'll be editing it this week, and hopefully be able to release it next week, hopefully. Can't wait to get it finished, get it out to you. I'm really excited to see your opinions on it. And also check out the new style of tutorial that I want to be making, which is in the cover system series. So check that out and let us know what you think about the new style of series, where I'll do a proper intro, proper outro, and a bit more flashy production. So thank you very much for everyone for watching me tonight. We do this every Wednesday, and we also live stream every Saturday as well. Thanks again for watching. Have a great night, and I wish you all the best and safe. Bye bye.